Hey there, Aurelie here from withhisgifts.com. Welcome and thank you so much for stopping by. Today I have another video tutorial for you and we are going to create this gorgeous card. So let's go ahead and get started. Today I'm using the Two Wild Rose bundle, which includes the stamp set and the coordinating dies. I'm also using the Butterfly Gala stamp set with the coordinating Butterfly Duet punch. And then finally I'm using the stitched lace dies. The ink colors I am using today are Blushing Bride and Sahara Sand. And for my paper I have a piece of the Whisper White Thick that is cut at 4 1/4 by 11 and scored at 5 1/2. Piece of the Sahara Sand that is cut at 4 by 5 1/4, and then I have a full sheet of Whisper White cut in half that I'll be using as scraps for stamping and cutting. The other things that I'll be using today are the multi-purpose liquid glue, the snail adhesive, Stampin' dimensionals, mini glue dots, paper snips, bone folder, the Take Your Pick tool, the basic pearl jewels, linen thread, and I'll be using a paintbrush to apply glue. Let's jump right in with our stamping. I'm going to go ahead and get my piercing mat ready. And the reason I'm using my piercing mat is because we are using photopolymer stamp sets. And this piercing mat provides the extra cushion that it needs to ensure a crisp and clean stamp image. So I'm going to start with a Two Wild Rose stamp set. I'm going to stamp 3 roses using the outline and this image here. The outline of the leaves and this image here. And then for our sentiment, we'll use the Blessed to Be Your Friend. So let's go ahead and start with that. I'm going to grab half of the Whisper White scrap paper that we had and start with my outline image and the Sahara Sand. So I will ink it up. There's 1. 2. 3. Now I know I said we were going to do 3 of these, but I really meant 4, so there's 4. Okay. Next, we will grab the Blushing Bride. I'm going to stamp off here, so I will use that, have that ready. My Blushing Bride, stamp it up, then off, and then we're going to line this up like so, just like that. So there are our roses. We're going to go ahead and move on to the leaf, and I am going to need 3 leaves. So I'm going to start off by stamping my outline in the Sahara Sand. There's 1. 2. 3. And then for the fill-in color, I'm also using the Sahara Sand, and we are going to stamp off and then fill in the leaves like that. So we're now ready to punch our cute little butterfly, and for that I'm going to use the Butterfly Gala. I'm going to use this one here for my outline and this one in for my fill. So I'm going to flip this over a bit and I'm going to use this spot here. This comes together. So this right here is 1 stamp set. I'm only going to stamp this. I haven't decided if I wanted to cut them apart yet. So that's a possibility. You can do that. It doesn't damage your stamp, but for now they're together. My Sahara sand, I'm going to ink up the little one, and I'm going to stamp it right here, like so. And then for my fill, I am using the Blushing Bride once again, and then I'm going to stamp off and fill that in with color. Like that. It's beautiful. We can go ahead right away and use our punch to punch out the little butterfly. Okay. Make sure it's lined up. I'm going to pull this close to me just so I can see. All right, so there it is, all lined up. I'm going to give it a punch. Grab my butterfly right there. We're going to set that aside. And then the final thing to stamp is our sentiment. I'm grabbing the other half of the scrap Whisper White paper for my sentiment. And I have the To Be Your Friend first that I'm going to stamp in the Blushing Bride. We will not be stamping off, just full strength color. Like that. And then Blessed in the Sahara sand. Again, full strength, no stamping off. Ink her up, line her up. And then I find when I'm stamping like this, there's two lines, different color. The bottom one, if I do that one first, it makes the easier one, or the top one, easier to line up. At least that works for me. So there you go. And now we are ready for the big shot. So I'm going to go ahead and get my big shot right there. I have my magnetic platform, and there's one cutting plate. I'm going to put down my roses, and what is going to happen, I'm going to go ahead and grab my dies, the Wild Rose dies. We're going to use this one here, which is going to frame our roses, and this one here will frame, oh, not that one, this one here will frame our leaves. We'll be using this one to cut out our sentiment in a minute. But what we're going to do this multiple times, and actually I only need to do the rose twice. We don't need to do these because we are going to fussy cut just the center of those, and you'll see when we get to that. So let's pull this out, line up my die like so. And this is a magnetic platform, and it does a wonderful job of holding my dies in place. But sometimes they like to jump a little, and a little bit of washi tape helps that stay in place. So I'm going to line this up like so. And with Stampin' Up's new dies, you kind of go right to the edge here because you can't see your border anymore. So you kind of line it up right to the edge. It's hard for me to see while I'm on camera, but it's not difficult. Trust me, I promise. All right, and then I'm going to put my washi tape right there. I will line up my leaf die, and again use a piece of washi to keep it in place. Here is the setup. I'm going to put my second cutting plate on top, and I'm going to run it through, and then I will run this through a couple of times and get our pieces all cut out. Okay, so for my sentiment, I'm going to use the little frame here. I'm going to line that up, get a little bit of washi, and cut that out. So finally, I am going to cut my stitched lace piece. I'm going to use my magnetic plate. Also going to use my precision base plate, put that right on top there. I am then going to grab the bigger of the die, this one here, and lay it across like that. Then the remaining paper, don't need that, we'll lay right on. Oh, is it this way? No, it's this way. Just like that. And line that up. So I'll get my cutting plate, and then I'm going to run it through. Maybe a couple passes, and then we'll be done. So I like to grab my little Big Shot die. I have my waste basket here. That's going to be up close and personal for you. But here is the piece. And I like to do this over a waste basket because it saves me from having to clean up all these tiny little pieces later. This brush is no longer available through Stampin' Up, but I do provide a link on my corresponding blog post, which is linked below this video, to a place where you can actually purchase it if you want this handy dandy tool, and it is handy. Okay, so we may still have to poke at it. We shall see. Carefully lift that up. So I'm going to go ahead and check to see if there are any little residual pieces that we need to poke out. And I see some, so I will use my little piercing tool that I didn't list in the supplies in the beginning, but this is awesome for getting these little residual pieces out. Okay, and I think we're good. And this little foam mat actually comes with this as a set, so if you're wondering where that came from, that's where it came from. Now one final cut with our Big Shot. So I have my Big Shot back in place. I'm going to put down my lace die cut that I just cut out. And then this is a frame. Well, it's not a frame because it doesn't go all the way, a border, there we go. That's what it is. And we are going to line this up across because it kind of cleans up your edges, this border, that's what it does. And it's really simple to line up, but we will be using washi because this one definitely does like to bounce around because it's right on the edge. But I will line it up, washi tape it, and then run it through, and then I will do that on the other end. Now we're done with the Big Shot, but not done with the cutting. So I did mention that we were going to fussy cut the centers of these flowers here, and we're just going to go along the border of them. So you'll notice that there's a border, like a top layer to the flower, and we're just going to cut that out. So there are all the pieces that we will need to put our card together. So the next step is to put our card together. I'm going to go ahead and get the layer, the top layer for the front of our card, which is the Sahara sand that is cut at 4 5 1/4. The lace cutout that we have will be longer, and I could line it up here, but when I do, I can see that it's not going to be symmetrical. So what I like to do is actually, I got to get it down to 4 inches. I will start off with cutting like a 1/4 inch on each side. I have my paper trimmer here, so I'm going to go in just a 1/4 inch on each side. This will ensure that it's symmetrical for me until I reach the 4 1/4, which is my desired. Wait a minute, I went to 5. Okay, here we go. But anyways, it will ensure that I get the symmetrical look that I am going for. Oh, and now it's perfect and symmetrical across the front of my card, which is what I was looking for. going to grab my scrap piece of paper. I'm going to flip this over. I'm going to grab my liquid glue and paintbrush, and I'm just going to lightly brush some glue on the back of that. I'm going to pour it out on the side here and then lightly just brush some glue onto the back, even tapping it. Okay, so here it is. I'm going to grab my front of the card. I'm going to center it top to bottom. I'm going to line up one edge. And if you don't get it perfectly centered, that's fine. It's the beauty of handmade cards. They are not perfect, and that's okay. Okay, so there we go. That's down. Get this mess out of my way. Next, I'm going to grab my card base. I'm going to fold and score that so it lays flat for me. And then with my snail adhesive, I'm going to flip the layer over and get some of that laid around the border of it, the perimeter. Place that down on the front of my card. Let's open that up and make it easier. Alrighty, so there is the card ready to receive the gorgeous flowers. So one flower will go roughly there. The next flower will go roughly right about there. Okay, we're going to pop those up on dimensionals, so let's flip them over. I find that 4 close to the center is good. So while I'm putting this card together, I know that a lot of you are probably wondering where I've been. I have been closing out the school year with 4 little boys. I am exhausted. My creativity was lost, nowhere to be found. Just, yeah, preoccupied with a lot of stuff. And I know there are moms out there that do end of school year like a boss. I am not one of those. I'm really not mom. I'm grandma raising grandsons. So I'm at least twice their age with at most half their energy. So I am not one of them, but I bow down to them because they rock. They really do. And I was one back in my younger days, but not anymore. Those days are long gone. But anyways, that's where I have been. And just looking for my creativity, exhausted. But I'm back. My creativity is still a little bit foggy, but it's there. I can see it, and there's hope. So, yeah. So I'm hoping that I will be here more often and that I will not be taking such a long break. But anyways, there are my flowers. I popped them up on dimensionals. My next step is to get my leaves in place. I am going to grab my liquid glue. So this one is going to tuck in right about here, and we're going to cut off this leaf because it's in the way. So it's going to tuck in right about here, like so. So we're going to put some glue on the back of it. Come on, glue. I'm over some paper because I didn't want it to come out like angrily at me like it just did. See, it just did that and ruined my project. So, all right, so we have some glue. I'm going to tuck this in right back there, like so, and then kind of press down so it stays there. The next one, we're going to cut this one here because now it's in the way. So like that. I'm going to put some glue back here if it's going to behave now. Yep. So just a little bit of glue like this behind it, so that when you flip it over and tuck it in behind your flower, the glue is now face down like that. Okay, then the final is going to go right here, so we're going to snip off that here. Make sure it tucks in good. Yep. Let's put some glue behind here. So I do appreciate the messages that I got, wondering where I've been. Thank you for those. But, you know, for the rest of you, now you know, that's where I've been. All right. So there's that. It's starting to come together as a gorgeous card. This is a gorgeous stamp set. It's actually 3-step. I only used a 2-step. The third step, let me show you real quick, is this one here, and it will create some more dimension and depth to your flower, adding shading. I didn't use it. I didn't want to, but I'm sure I will in the future. But for this particular project, it just didn't need it. So my sentiment is going to go right there. Now these flowers are popped up, so I'm only going to pop up this side and put some glue on this side. Because if I put dimensions down on all sides, then it would be a little bit lopsided. So we're going to do dimensions right about there to the little halfway point. Okay. And then we will do some glue on this side where it's going to lay on the flowers. Okay, just like that, spreading it around. Next, flip that over. We're going to come closer to the right side. Okay, center it across your flowers. Oops, that's liquid glue. Love liquid glue because it gives you some give. There we go. All right, there's that. Now for these two little pieces here, we are going to place those on dimensionals up top like so. So we're creating some dimension. This piece did not cut out very well here. I missed a spot. Let's turn it this way. Oh, this way. So we will flip these pieces over and put one little dimensional on it like so. And then we're going to pop that up right on the center, and it's going to kind of cascade onto my sentiment. So that is how we're using these pieces. And then this one goes here like so. So then for the finishing touch, I am going to grab this and I'm going to fold over 3 times. I don't know, this is about maybe 6 inches. Then I'm going to snip this like so. What I'm going to do is tie me a little bow. Like that. And you've guys seen me do this a million times. I love these little linen thread bows. I do. I'm not even going to lie. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to grab some scissors that will cut this better. Okay. I'm cutting them apart because there were still loops on some of these little, what are those? The tails. The tails, that's what you call them, the tails. So I cut them apart and then just gonna kind of curl them just a bit with my bone folder. Then I will grab a glue dot and I'm gonna kind of roll it around before I put it on the back of my flower, like so. So I just roll that around. Okay, put it on the back of my bow, and now we're going to put it right at the end of our sentiment, just like that. And then the final touch is one of these lovely little pearls. And for that I'm going to use my Take Your Pick. Now this tool is wonderful. I know that you guys have seen me struggle with picking these things up before. If you watched me in the past, if you're new to my channel, welcome. Thank you for watching. But those of you who have watched some of my prior videos will know that I struggle with picking those up. And look how easy that was. I didn't even have to cut or edit that part. But that's it. It's a lovely tool. It's a Take Your Pick. Also has a little tacky putty side for you to pick it up. This kinds of, yeah, it's amazing. It's lovely. So if you don't have it, you want it. Now wait. Now, I almost forgot the butterfly. How could I forget the butterfly? I'm so sorry, butterfly. But that is the final touch. I promise. And for that, I have my pearls out. I get to use this again. And for that, I'm going to use the tiniest of the pearls. We're going to pick those up. Now I'm all shaky. Going to pick those up, and we're going to put them down like so. We're going to use 3 of these. So there's our butterfly. I don't know if you can see the pearls. So one more glue dot. Right on the back of our butterfly. And we will lay it right up here. And there you have it. Super duper easy. All the big shot work made it not so super duper quick, but it is definitely super duper elegant. So if you want to make these gorgeous cards at home, make sure to jot down the supply list down below. Then head on over to my online store at withhisgifts.stampinup.net and place your order today so you can make these gorgeous cards at home. If you don't already have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I would love the opportunity to earn your business. Go on to my website at withhisgifts.com, check out what I'm all about, and hit me up with any questions that you have. I'll be happy to assist you in any way that I can. And that is all that I have for you today. Thank you so much for stopping by. If you enjoyed this video tutorial, please leave me a comment down below, like this video, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Until next time, thank you and have a great day.